Hello, this is YJ, and I'm here to teach you Korean from today. As this is our first session, let me start with a brief introduction. Of course, I'm a Korean, working as a Korean Spanish interpreter in Korea, and I teach Spanish to Koreans both online and offline. Hoping to teach you Korean, I passed the Korean language teacher qualification test last year, and now I'm starting these lectures on YouTube. Just like you, I also love studying foreign languages. So until now, I've diligently studied English, Chinese, Spanish, and Japanese. And last year, I achieved pretty good scores in oral tests. So I'm your Korean teacher, but also a student studying foreign languages diligently at the same time. So I understand what you feel better than anyone and know pretty well the methods of studying a foreign language. And to better understand the beginner's mind in learning Korean, I've started studying Vietnamese this year too. So during the lecture, I'll also provide you with a lot of information on how to study foreign languages effectively besides Korean. Well, I've briefly introduced myself, and now let's talk about the lectures. I want to teach Korean to many people, so I plan to upload the videos in three different languages: Korean, English, and Spanish. Although my English and Spanish are not perfect, I believe at least I can convey my explanations on Korean. My strength lies in understanding various languages, and I also plan to incorporate this into my lectures. Of course, my mother tongue is Korean, and I use standard Korean without any dialect. From now on, English videos will have a yellow border on the thumbnail, Spanish a light green, and Korean pink. In English and Spanish videos, I'll speak at a normal pace, and in Korean videos, let me speak slowly, but only in the first video a bit faster, but with subtitles, due to the lengthy explanation. I recommend watching the English or Spanish videos first to understand the content in detail, then use the Korean videos for your revision. Especially for Korean videos, I suggest watching them repeatedly, as repetition is very important in language learning. Well, my lectures will focus on practical content. When learning a language, there are often cases that are special without any particular reason or are grammatically exceptional. So many times it's easier to just accept and memorize them rather than trying to understand each one in detail. And this is also true for Korean. So let me specifically point out the parts that even Koreans don't know well or that are much more efficient for foreigners to memorize rather than trying to explain them in detail. Also, I'll upload lecture materials as PDF files with explanations on my blog, so you can download them from the link below for your revision. Moreover, if you don't want to miss my upcoming lectures, don't forget to subscribe and give like right now. Alright, as this is our first session, the explanation was pretty long. Now, let's start the actual lecture. Well, do you know the difference between Korean and Hangul? Korean is the language spoken by Koreans as their mother tongue, and Hangul is the alphabet used to write Korean. And just like English and Spanish, where you can pronounce words if you know the alphabet, you can also pronounce Korean words by knowing Hangul. This aspect is easier compared to Chinese or Japanese. And Hangul consists of consonants and vowels and is easy for foreigners to learn too. Now, let me talk about some characteristics of Korean. Korean typically follows a subject, object, verb order, unlike English or Spanish, which are subject, verb, object. However, in practice, this order can be quite flexible. Another feature is that unlike English and Spanish, where the verb form changes with plural subjects, and in Spanish, where the word form changes with gender, Korean does not make these distinctions. Now, let's talk about the difficulties foreigners might face with Korean. First, the use of honorifics and informal speech can be challenging. It's indeed difficult, and unless you live in Korea, it's hard to use them correctly. So Koreans can judge one's Korean proficiency by how naturally they use honorifics and informal speech. Well, although challenging, please consider these as unique features of Korean. Second, spacing in Korean can be difficult. Unlike English and Spanish, where you just space between words, Korean spacing rules are more complex, and even Koreans often make mistakes. So don't worry too much about spacing from the start. Korean is understandable even with some spacing errors. Third, Korea, despite being geographically small, has regional dialects. But don't worry too much, as everyone uses the same Hangul and mostly similar words. You will get used to dialects by watching Korean dramas and movies. A great thing about Korean is that you can enjoy various content on YouTube and Netflix. The most important aspect of learning a language is fun. So please enjoy various Korean contents while studying, then you can improve your skill much faster. Finally, Korean used in speaking, writing, and on the internet or social media can differ. While all these are in same Hangul, the styles vary. This might make it a bit difficult for foreigners to use natural Korean. In this regard, I would say Korean is a tough language for foreigners to master perfectly. Well, this concludes our first video, where I introduced the lectures and talked about Korean features. Well, like how Japanese and Chinese are relatively easier for me and English and Spanish are harder, Korean might be very unfamiliar and difficult for those whose native languages are English and Spanish. But please don't be stressed out too much. It's natural to find it more challenging than languages of neighboring countries. I'll kindly and efficiently teach you Korean step by step. In the next video, we will start learning Hangul, the Korean alphabet. If you found today's video helpful and are interested in my upcoming Korean lectures and K-pop videos, please subscribe and give like. Also, you can visit my blog through the link below to download lecture materials for your review. Well, my Korean lectures are made for you, so if you find any shortcomings or points to improve, please leave a comment below. I'll try to incorporate what I can. That's all for today's video, and I'll see you again with better content. Bye!